A very warm good morning to all of you. It's a beautiful Monday morning, a fresh start of the week, and we're back once again with Breakfast News. I'm Preeti. With me is Nancy. In the next 1 hour, we'll get you through everything that's making it to the headlines. We'll get you national updates, international updates, updates from the world of sports, business. Also, we'll get you a web review. And when we talk of starting this week on a Monday morning, let's start it with this beautiful thought coming in from Samuel Smiles. He says, hope is the companion of power and mother of success. For whoso hopes strongly has within him the gift of miracles. So it is this hope, it is this thought process, it is this optimism and positivity in your minds which surely extends not just through your day but also all through your endeavors.
Absolutely, taking one day at a time and remaining positive and hopeful about it will get you all the news like Preeti mentioned from across the nation and the world. And of course the campaigning is on in full swing for the assembly elections. We'll also be telling you more about the Vaccine Maitri initiative that's continuing by India, and of course a helping hand being extended by India to all the countries around the world. We'll get you updates from Parliament as well. There's much more making it to the news this Monday morning. First, a look at the headlines.
Hectic campaigning on in poll-bound states. Amit Shah to hold public meeting in West Bengal, while BJP President JP Nadda to address gatherings in Assam. BJP and Congress release list of candidates. AIADMK releases its election manifesto ahead of polls in Tamil Nadu.
India's vaccine diplomacy extended to 71 countries. More than 81 lakh doses of made in India vaccine supplied as grants, while 3.3 crore doses supplied on commercial basis.
At least 39 reported killed in Myanmar as Chinese finance factories set ablaze. Anti-Chinese sentiment has risen since the coup, with opponents of the army taking over, noting Beijing's muted criticism.
And in sports news, India beat England by 7 wickets in the second T20 International at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad, levels the 5-match series. Ishan given man of the match on debut.
Alright, those are the top stories we're tracking this hour. Let's get to news in detail now. We begin with the national headlines. We get to updates from Parliament first.
Absolutely. Parliament is set to reconvene today after a 4-day break. The second part of the budget session that commenced from the 8th of March has barely transacted any official business amid the ruckus created by the opposition parties. Now, many important business is still to be taken up today. Here's what we can expect. Take a look.
All right, to get us more on that, our correspondent Vikas Sarthi is joining us. Vikas, good morning to you. Ever since the second session of the remaining budget session began, we saw that opposition has been continuously creating ruckus. Today it's a Monday morning. Can we expect some positivity and some optimism in both the houses?
Vikas, if you could hear us, we were asking you about what we can expect in Parliament today. Ever since the House, the Parliament session has begun, there's really no business that has been transacted because of the ruckus, the continuous ruckus created by the opposition. Vikas.
Well, despite the ruckus in both the houses, last week both houses managed to pass one bill in each of the houses. So we expect that despite the ruckus or despite the disturbance from the opposition, still some work will also be done this week.
Sure.
4 new bills will be introduced in the Lok Sabha and in the Rajya Sabha. And there will be discussion on the working of Jal Shakti Ministry, and there is an important bill which was supposed to be passed last week in the Rajya Sabha, which was related to the food processing technology. So we expect that some legislative work will certainly be conducted despite the disturbances from the opposition MPs in both the houses.
Okay. All right, Vikas, also I would want you to spell out more details, what is to be expected today. And you have been covering Parliament proceedings. What do you gauge of the temperament of the opposition? Because we've seen that continuously they have been creating ruckus. I would want you to put into perspective for us.
Well, Preeti, last week both the houses couldn't function couldn't function due to the disturbances from the leader of opposition. But there was one thing which was informed by the Rajya Sabha chairman, that in this week, last week, it was said that in this week there will be discussion on the working of Petroleum Ministry. So chair requested the MPs that they should utilize that opportunity instead of disturbing both the houses. So now we will have to wait what is the strategy of opposition, because all these things decided in the morning meetings of the MPs, that whether they will allow normal functioning of the house, or they will again create a ruckus. It's a election season, and opposition wants to ensure that their presence is registered, that they are raising some issues related to the inflation of or rising prices of petroleum products. So all these are strategized before the proceeding starts in both the houses. So we will have to wait till 11 a.m. what will be the mood of the opposition MPs today.
All right, Vikas Arthi, thanks very much for joining us for the moment and sharing all those updates there. Of course, Parliament to reconvene today, and we'll get to know what really happens when the House reconvenes today at 11. But perhaps very important that the opposition, in fact, teams up and comes together in the interest of the nation and get the important legislation passed, which is, of course, for the welfare of the country.
Let's get to other news now when we talk of the election fever that is gripping the entire nation. Let's get to more on that. Campaigning is on in full swing in Tamil Nadu. Also, BJP on Sunday announced the second list of candidates for 4 states assembly polls. Congress too released its list of 86 candidates for Kerala assembly polls. We put this all together for you in this report.
Election campaign has intensified in poll-bound states of Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, Kerala, Assam and West Bengal. The BJP on Sunday announced second list of candidates for 4 states going for polls. In Kerala, the party will contest in 115 seats out of 140 and declared names for 112 seats. It has left 25 seats for 4 alliance parties. Metro Man E. Sridharan will contest from Palakkad Assembly constituency. Rajya Sabha MP K.J. Alphonse will be the BJP candidate from Kanjirapalli Assembly.
In Kerala, the Bharatiya Janata Party, we have an alliance with 4 parties. BJP will be contesting in 115 seats.
The BJP will contest in 20 seats in Tamil Nadu assembly polls and declared the names of candidates. In West Bengal, assembly elections will be conducted in 8 phases. BJP announced 27 names for the polls for the 3rd phase, while 36 names for the 4th phase. BJP leader Babul Supriyo will contest from Toliganj, while Lokit Chatterjee will be fighting the assembly polls from Chinsura. The party has fielded Rajya Sabha member Swapan Das Gupta from Tarkareshwar. The BJP has announced 17 names for the 3rd phase of Assam polls. Campaigning is heating up for the assembly polls in the state as senior BJP leaders are addressing back-to-back rallies there. Senior BJP leader and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh addressed rally in Jorhat, while Home Minister Amit Shah was in Tinsukia and Shiv Sagar. Both leaders appealed to people to vote for the BJP to take Assam to newer heights.
Congress Party Rahul Gandhi ji के नेतृत्व में चल रही, मगर उनके कंधे पर बदरुद्दीन अजमल बैठे। मुझे बताइए भाइयों, बदरुद्दीन अजमल जहां हो वहां घुसपैठ रुक सकती है क्या? जोर से बोलो, रुक सकती है क्या? मित्रों, कांग्रेस पार्टी को आपका दिया हुआ एक वोट बदरुद्दीन अजमल को मिले, और बदरुद्दीन अजमल को मिला हुआ एक वोट आसाम को घुसपैठियों से भर देगा। आपको तय करना है कि कौन सी पार्टी चाहिए, घुसपैठ कराने वाली पार्टी चाहिए या घुसपैठियों को उखाड़ कर बाहर फेंकने वाली पार्टी।
राजनीति केवल सरकार बनाने के लिए नहीं की जानी चाहिए, राजनीति की जानी चाहिए तो देश बनाने के लिए राजनीति की जानी चाहिए, समाज बनाने के लिए राजनीति की जानी चाहिए। हम जाति, पंथ, धर्म, मजहब की राजनीति नहीं करते हैं, हम राजनीति करते हैं तो इंसाफ और इंसानियत की राजनीति करते हैं, जस्टिस और ह्यूमैनिटी की पॉलिटिक्स हम करते हैं।
Campaigning is also gathering pace in poll-bound southern states. In Puducherry, four-time MLA P. Kannan joined the BJP. On the other hand, Congress is facing an internal tussle in the Union Territory. During the Puducherry Congress Election Committee meeting, some Congress workers raised the DMK flag as a mark of protest. Congress has released its list for 86 seats for Kerala Assembly polls.
All the 86 candidates announced by International Congress, they are all very, very important so far as party is concerned.
Tamil Nadu Congress workers expressed their displeasure against the party leadership for delay in releasing the list of candidates. The Communist Party of India has announced its list of candidates for 6 seats it is contesting in alliance with the DMK in Tamil Nadu. DMK MLA P. Sarvana joined the BJP in Tamil Nadu. Ruling AIADMK has released its election manifesto in Chennai, naming Madurai Airport after Muthuramalinga Thevar, continuation of 2,500 rupees as Pongal gift every year, 50% discount for women in city buses, extending 100-day work scheme to 150 days, 25,000 rupees as subsidy to buy auto rickshaws. Assembly polls in the state will take place in a single phase on 6th of April. Bureau Report, DD India.
And for more updates, let's now go across to our correspondents. Joining us, Yogesh Sheetal is joining us from Assam, and Abhishek Jha is joining us from Tamil Nadu. If we can go to Yogesh first. Yogesh, of course, campaigning is intensifying there in Assam. Just bring us up to speed, the political developments, the political temperature that's really hotting up ahead of the elections that you're witnessing there on the ground.
Good morning, Preeti. Good morning, Nancy. See, currently I'm in Debrugarh, which is just located in the bank of Brahmaputra River. As far as campaigning is concerned, you have also rightly said that it has been intensified over the last few days, and also we had seen the marathon campaigning from all the parties, including Congress, including BJP, and also the regional parties. Now, coming to the fact, as far as allegations, as far as issues are concerned, BJP is, just trying to push the main issue of development in the region, and also today Amit Shah, the Home Minister of India, has also is also scheduled to launch self-help development, a campaign basically by the BJP from Guwahati, which is the main city in Assam. On the other hand, Congress has issued a 12-point charge sheet in court, and just putting everything that the BJP could not, implement in the state as per the promises made before the assembly election in 2016. So these are the things which are going on the ground. Now, also important points, we had seen that yesterday Rajnath Singh and also Amit Shah, they have addressed a rally today. Also, JP Nadda is scheduled to address a rally in Lakhimpur district. So the main thing that BJP, the senior leaders of BJP are just trying to, share with the people that if the BJP comes to power, return the power, then they will ensure that there will not be further any sort of infiltration or any sort of disturbance in the state, and also has mentioned very significantly that how the government of BJP has successfully managed to, ensure the state to be corruption free, to be infiltration free, to the, any sort of things that the state was suffering before these elections. Also, Rajnath Singh very importantly mentioned yesterday that Tarun Gogoi, who was the Chief Minister of Assam for the 15 years, had not allied with the AIUDF, but now the Congress has just stooped too low, and also Amit Shah also underlined that the party can go to at any length to win the election. So also the party has allied with, also the Congress has allied with the party who don't believe in United India, and who was in fact dividing people on the line of religion. So these are the things that allegations are being made by the BJP. On the other hand, we have also heard BJP has, the Congress has said that if Congress comes to power, then 5 lakh employment would be generated. 5 lakh employment would be 5-point agenda basically has been coined by the Congress party, including a hike in daily wages of tea workers, 200 unit free electricity till 200 units, and also not implementing CAA when if Congress comes to power. So these are the agenda, these are the issues that these parties are taking around. Also, importantly, now coming to different aspect, Election Commission has definitely made elaborate arrangements for all the 126 assemblies which are going to poll for the first phase also. Now, more than 1 lakh voters has been, marked as doubtful voters. Assam is the only state where the election commission has started this thing, and more than 1 lakh voters, around 1,08,000 voters, they have been marked as doubtful voters. And apart from that, amendments are made, and the latest update is the BJP has released all the names of the candidates which will be contesting the election. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Thank you so much, Yogesh, for joining us with those inputs. We'll come back to you again to further get how is the election fever further developing with more rallies planned. Up next, we go across to our correspondent Abhishek Jha, who's joining us from Tamil Nadu to get us more on that. Abhishek, we've seen that political temperatures in the state of Tamil Nadu are also brewing up. Spell out more details. What does the day hold ahead for us when we talk of election rallies and political leaders crisscrossing the state to the voters?
So, morning Preeti, today it's going to be a big day for major parties because senior leaders from major parties are going to file their nominations. The nomination in the state has started on Friday, but 2 days were the week off. So now today, M.K. Stalin from DMK is probably going to file his seats from Kothur seats in Chennai. In Salem district, Edipadi is the place where the incumbent CM is fighting from. And today he is also going to file his nominations in the afternoon. So these are two major nominations that are going to be filed. Apart from this, the rallies are also planned across the state because AIDMK, DMK, BJP, Congress, both all these parties are trying hard to pitch in for their upcoming election and to garner more and more supports in their favor. And also in the other part, like in Nilgiri also, we can see a close contest happening between BJP and Kamal Hassan because South Coimbatore seat has been given to BJP in AIDMK BJP alliance, and now Kamal Hassan is also fighting from South Coimbatore seat. So overall, this interesting combination of candidates and alliances is emerging in Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
All right, Abhishek, also very quickly I would want you to spell out more on how do you see the election battle poised this time around. Very briefly, I would want you to bring out the prospects and highlight the prospects of various political parties in the state this time around.
So this time around, Preeti, this is going to be an election of proving its own mettle because the Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi factor is absent. This is the first time that they are not directly involved in this state assembly election. However, their memory and their presence is almost felt every day because all the major schemes and major projects from AIDMK or DMK is being named or launched by the name of Karunanidhi or Jayalalitha. So no matter they have left. But the people and they are still very much fresh in the minds of people, and both parties trying to encash as much support and favor in the name of the late leaders. However, DMK is also trying to put strong charges against the ruling government, and it has said that if it is elected to power, it will form a different court, a special court to investigate all the charges of corruption against the AIDMK government and its various ministers.
All right, Abhishek Jha, thanks very much for joining us for the moment and sharing as to what's really the political developments that are taking place in Tamil Nadu ahead of the assembly elections, and also to Yogesh from joining us from Assam. Let's now move on and get you news now from West Bengal, where the senior BJP leader Amit Shah held a massive roadshow in Kharagpur, while Mamata Banerjee held a roadshow in Kolkata. And in another development, the Election Commission has removed the top officials in the Nandigram incident. Here's a report.
Campaigning in West Bengal is garnering maximum limelight among poll-bound states. Senior BJP leader and Home Minister Amit Shah held massive roadshow in Kharagpur, West Bengal. People in large numbers took part in the roadshow. On the other hand, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee also led a roadshow in Kolkata on Sunday, sitting on a wheelchair. The TMC chief had alleged that she was attacked by 4 to 5 men during her election campaign in Nandigram.
I will continue to campaign in the state on wheelchair. Khela hobe. An injured tiger can get far more dangerous.
Meanwhile, the Election Commission on Sunday removed top officials for failing to ensure security to West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. The poll panel removed Director Security and placed him under suspension. The Election Commission also ordered the suspension of Purva Medinipur SP. Earlier today, the poll body had ruled out allegation of attack on TMC Chief Mamata Banerjee based on the report submitted by the Election Observer and Chief Secretary of West Bengal. The BJP also wrote to the poll panel seeking that the medical records of Chief Minister's injury be made public. Moreover, the BJP has termed Mamata Banerjee's injury as a self-goal to extract maximum possible political mileage. Both BJP and Congress accused Mamata Banerjee that she is doing all sorts of things to garner sympathy votes.
पश्चिम बंगाल में तृणमूल कांग्रेस एक्सपायर फार्मूले और एक्सपोज सेल्फ गोल में लगी हुई है। अब जब एक्सपायर फार्मूले और एक्सपोज सेल्फ गोल होंगे तो सच्चाई सामने आएगी, लोगों के पता लगेगा कि पैर जो है ज़मीन पे फिसला है या ज़मीन से पैर फिसल गई है या पैर से ज़मीन फिसल गई है। तो अगर पैर से ज़मीन फिसल जाती है तो इसी तरह के चूचू चूचू टिक चिक 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 चूचू का मुरब्बा जैसे मुद्दे दिखाई पड़ते हैं।
चुनाव आयोग ने जो स्पेशल ऑब्जर्वर्स की रिपोर्ट मंगाई उसमें उन्होंने स्पष्ट किया है कि ये कोई सुनियोजित ढंग से प्रायोजित कोई हमला नहीं था, बल्कि एक घटना है, दुर्घटना है जिसकी वजह से उनको चोट लगी।
Nandigram is being seen as the hot seat in West Bengal Assembly elections. Shubhendu Adhikari, who had once been Mamata's close aide, is in the fray against her on this keenly contested seat. But who eventually claims Nandigram and West Bengal, only time will tell. Bureau Report, DD India.
Meanwhile, a BJP delegation yesterday met Chief Election Officer in Kolkata and demanded strict action against those involved in managing the security of Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee.
स्टेट प्लस सिक्योरिटी है, ये अलाउ नहीं है, ये प्रोटोकॉल में भी नहीं है। अगर कोई बड़ी घटना घट गई तो पूरा बंगाल तहस-नहस हो जाता। तो ऐसे में कुछ लोगों को किया गया और कुछ लोगों को छोड़ा जाएगा, ये नहीं होना चाहिए। पूरा सिस्टम के ऊपर एक्शन होना चाहिए, तभी फ्यूचर में इस तरह की जो प्लानिंग होती है गलत ढंग से अपने सिंपैथी को हासिल करना वो बंद हो जाए।
And let's now move on, get you more updates on India's Vaccine Maitri initiative, which has attracted immense respect and appreciation for India from all around the world. On Sunday, the former West Indies cricketers came forward to thank India and Prime Minister Modi for their help.
India's drive to distribute Made in India COVID vaccines worldwide has now been extended beyond the nation's shores to cover almost all parts of the globe. It started with the dispatch of the first consignments to Bhutan and Maldives on the 20th of January this year. Now, Vaccine Maitri has had West Indian cricketing greats such as Sir Vivian Richards, Jimmy Adams, Ram Naresh Sarwan and Richie Richardson expressing gratitude towards India and Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
To thank for exactly the wonderful contribution that India would have made to our country, which is the vaccine. We thank you so much on behalf of the Antiguan and Barbudan people. We look forward also that in the future, continued relationship. Thank you very much, Prime Minister Modi, and to thank the High Commissioner to our region. We also thank all the people of India for such a kind gesture. Thank you very much.
I just want to use this opportunity to say thank you to the government of India for the support that they're giving to people all across the region in donating vaccines. I know that my own home country of Jamaica is benefiting from this initiative, as also is Antigua, where I'm currently working with Cricket West Indies. We're all deeply grateful to the government of India, and on behalf of the people in the Caribbean, I'd like to tell them thank you very much for this great initiative.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank Prime Minister Modi for providing the COVID-19 vaccine for us here in Ghana. We really appreciate your kindness, sir. Thank you so much.
On behalf of the government and the people of Antigua and Barbuda, I would like to thank the Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi, for his kind generosity in offering us 40,000 Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. We are extremely grateful to you and your country, sir. Thank you very, very much.
India's vaccine diplomacy has so far been extended to 71 countries. 8.125 million doses of Made in India vaccines have been supplied as grants. 33.97 million doses have been supplied on commercial basis. 16.55 million doses have also been supplied as part of the multilateral COVAX initiative. This takes the total supply of vaccines from India to the world to 58.64 million doses. And India's contribution to the global fight against COVID-19 is set to get even bigger under the latest Quad Vaccine Initiative, where America's tech know-how, its financial resources coupled with Japan's, as well as Australia's strengths in logistics and distribution will be leveraged along with India's vaccine manufacturing capabilities to produce and supply 1 billion anti-COVID vaccine doses by the end of next year. Bureau Report, DD India.
Union Minister of Road, Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari yesterday addressed the inaugural ceremony of Shekshik Pradarshini Sarthak Edition 2021. During his address, the minister said that the central government wanted to make India world's #1 economy. Gadkari also asserted that he would make Indian roads infrastructure at par with the American or the European road infrastructure.
हम हिंदुस्तान को दुनिया की नंबर 1 की ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी बनाना चाहते हैं। अब नंबर 1 की इकोनॉमी बनाने के लिए प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो प्लान किया उसमें हमें कहा है कि 111 लाख करोड़ 111 लाख करोड़ का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाना है और पाइपलाइन में। अब वो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर 111 लाख करोड़ का अगर हमको बनाना है तो मैंने ये हमको आश्वस्त किया है कि मेरे 5 साल इस बार अभी 1-1.5 साल और हुआ है पूरा और 3 साल है, तो 3 साल पूरे होने के बाद मैं इंडियन रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को अमेरिकन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और यूरोपियन रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के बराबरी में पहुंचाने का काम करेंगे।
And moving on now to more updates, the CSIR NIO has launched a 90-day expedition to the Indian Ocean to conduct genome and proteome mapping of the microorganisms present in the sea water and the sediments. A team of researchers will be cruising through the CSIR research vessel Sindhu Sadhana on their expedition. Dr. Sameer R. Damre, who is leading the team of researchers, said that one of the key objectives of the mission is to identify and characterize the genes and the proteins in the ocean to understand the cellular level processes occurring in the microorganisms in response.
With this, our team of 23 researchers come from NIO Goa is ready to sail to Indian Ocean under the project TRESS Biome of CSIR NIO, where we will be collecting large quantities of water samples and sediment from the depths of around 5,000 meters to unravel the mystery of the DNA, RNA and proteins which are ultimately controlling the oceanic climate changes and the processes which are occurring. This will also help us into the biotechnological applications, as many of these unknown molecules which we will be looking into from the undiscovered microbes which we will be finding from there for the different medical purposes like anti-cancer, anti-diabetic. And with this, the nutrient deficiencies which are occurring or the nutrient excesses like the metals which are present in the seawater would be explored.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi had tweeted on the 12th of March that a charkha will be installed near Magan Niwas at Sabarmati Ashram. It will rotate full circle with each tweet related to Atmanirbharta, and this shall also become a catalyst for a people's movement. Our correspondent Mark Lind was at Sabarmati Ashram and he puts this into perspective for us.
The charkha was a key symbol of the Indian national movement. It symbolized self-reliance and the regeneration of the Indian economy. By its very nature, the spinning wheel is at the core of a churning process that generates thread, used to piece things together and are woven together into the fabric of society. Gandhiji used the charkha to weave the national movement into a mass movement. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged a renewed mass movement towards India's rapid economic growth based on self-reliance.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has once again put the charkha at the center of India's transformation with the tweet campaign. The pillars of freedom struggle, ideas, achievement, action and resolve, the Charkha will continue to spin India forward.
In the digital social media age, Prime Minister Modi has chosen a unique way of making the iconic Charkha a thread that links the present generation with the past.
The real thinking behind this is like connecting this generation, like the younger generation, which is more inclined towards digital media, and the older generation, which was like Bapu's generation, so the thinking behind this is like connecting those two generations by digital and like more traditional ways towards a grand cause, that is Make in India.
To comprehend the inner meaning of the Charkha, one needs to understand the principles of spinning and its impact on the mind, on focus and concentration. It was a way in which Gandhiji understood and connected with the masses.
जब ये व्हील घूमेगा, आपके अंदर भगवान के नाम का स्मरण चलेगा। वो कहते थे कि ये चरखा अगर चल रहा है और आपका अंदर का चक्र शुरू नहीं हुआ, तो इसका कोई मतलब ही नहीं है।
The Charkha has no complex mechanisms. It has no ball bearings, and while it led to production by the masses as opposed to mass production, Gandhiji posed a challenge to invent different kinds of charkhas with a prize money of 5,000 rupees in 1920-21, which led to several new innovations in the charkha, not unlike the innovation challenges posed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi today.
Gandhiji declared one prize also, 5,000 rupees. So 34 new versions came afterwards. And Gandhiji spread in all villages charkha, and so people got employment. Nobody should live without bread. That was Gandhiji's main motto. So he started charkha movement.
In time, khadi developed to meet the growing demand with mass production. But khadi will always have a deeper significance.
Ekambar Nath, one of the person from south, he invented one charkha called Ambar Charkha, so which has multi-spindles, 8 spindles, 12 spindles, 24 spindles also. Charkha were invented after Gandhiji's death, after independence. Khadi is not only a cloth, it's a thought.
While the charkha was at the center of the flag of the Indian national movement, its principles remain intact in the Ashok Chakra that is at the center of the national flag. Resistance and self-reliance evolving into respect for the wheel of law. The charkha, in the words of Margaret Burke, illustrates a major tenet of Gandhiji. Individually considered, man is insignificant, like a drop of water, but in the mass he becomes mighty and powerful like the ocean. The lessons of the charkha continue to inspire Atmanirbhar Bharat.
It is symbolic of resistance, of revolution, and also of mass production, because Gandhiji had called this instrument as the machine of the proletariat. With cameraman Mohit Joshi, this is Mark Lin, DD India from Gandhi Ashram in Ahmedabad.
And moving on now, an endangered and a rare species of turtle has been found in Arunachal Pradesh. The turtle is commonly known as Peacock soft-shelled turtle, while the species is characterized by a large head, a snout turned down and a low oval carapace with olive to dark green color and has a yellow rim. Scientist Dr. B.B. Bhatt said that according to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, such a rare species come under the Schedule 1 and vulnerable category. He also urged people to preserve such rare species.
The group of freshwater turtle generally found in northeast or the plains of India, and it's commonly known as peacock softshell and scientifically known as Nilsonia hurum. Okay, and in the present day context, this species have become quite a rare, and as per the Wildlife Protection Act, it comes under Schedule 1 and vulnerable category according to IUCN. So we should preserve this thing, the beautiful creature.
The 4th edition of Pariksha Pe Charcha is going to take place this month. However, no official date for the event has been announced. Students who participated in last year's Pariksha Pe Charcha shared their experience while talking to DD India. Let's listen in what they had to say.
पिछले साल 2020 में मैं परीक्षा पे चर्चा में चयन हुआ था। मैं केंद्रीय विद्यालय का छात्र हूँ, तो वहाँ पर एक एग्ज़ाम हुआ था PPC परीक्षा पे चर्चा, तो उसमें से मेरा चयन हुआ था। मैं बहुत खुशनसीब हूँ कि मेरे जो टीचर्स हैं, जो मेरे अध्यापक हैं, उन लोगों ने मेरा सपोर्ट करा। तो जब मेरा चयन हुआ तो मैं डायरेक्ट दिल्ली गया। वहाँ पर मैं तालकटोरा स्टेडियम में श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी से मिला। आप सब जैसे का आप सबको पता ही है, वन ऑफ द वर्ल्ड बिगेस्ट प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैं वो, और उन्होंने हमें बहुत ही मोटिवेट किया। उन्होंने ये भी बताया कि जो हमारे टीनेजर्स हैं और ये हैं बच्चे हैं और जो मतलब आने वाली पीढ़ी है, उसे जो है परीक्षा को एक मतलब फॉर एग्जांपल क्रिकेट, फुटबॉल इस हिसाब से प्लेइंग के तौर पे देखना चाहिए।
मैं 2020 में परीक्षा पे चर्चा में शामिल हुई थी, जिसका कार्यक्रम दिल्ली में हुआ, और उसका अनुभव मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छा और नया था। छात्र जीवन में ऐसा अनुभव मिलना बहुत अच्छी बात है, और मेरे दोस्तों के लिए यही संदेश है कि इस तरह की जितनी भी प्रतियोगिताएं हों उसमें हिस्सा लेना चाहिए, जिससे अपना एक्सपीरियंस बढ़ता है। और प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भी सभी बच्चों के सवालों के बहुत अच्छे से उत्तर दिए थे, जिससे हमें बहुत प्रेरणा मिली।
मैंने पिछले साल जो हमारे परीक्षा पे चर्चा में कार्यक्रम हुआ था उसमें भाग लिया था, और ये कार्यक्रम सर मैं आपको बता दूं 9th से लेकर 12th क्लास तक के बच्चों के लिए होता है। इसमें हमारे प्रधानमंत्री खुद आते हैं और बच्चों को उनके आने वाले एग्जाम्स के लिए प्रोत्साहित करते हैं। वो उनसे सवाल भी लेते हैं और उनके सवालों का बड़े धैर्यपूर्वक जवाब भी देते हैं। तो मेरे लिए तो सर ये बड़ा एक प्रगतिशील अनुभव रहा मेरे लिए, क्योंकि उन्हें प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी उन्होंने खुद मुझे ये बताया कि आने वाले एग्जाम्स जो मेरे 12th बोर्ड्स थे उसमें मुझे कैसे अपने इम्तिहान का सामना करना है।
पिछले साल मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के प्रोग्राम परीक्षा पे चर्चा 2020 के लिए चयन हुआ था। उस प्रोग्राम में मुझे बहुत सारे एक्सपीरियंस मिला, और उस प्रोग्राम में प्रधानमंत्री जी ने हम सभी को परीक्षा के जो दिक्कतें होती हैं उसका सामना करने के लिए और उसका हल करने के लिए बहुत सारे चीजें बताई हैं। और इसी के साथ साथ उन्होंने ये भी बताया कि परीक्षा में अंक ही हर चीज नहीं होता है, उसके अलावा जिंदगी में सफल भी होना बहुत मायने रखता है।
मैं पिछले साल परीक्षा पे चर्चा दिल्ली गया ਸੀਗਾ। उधर साडी प्राइम मिनिस्टर साडे श्री नरेंद्र मोदी ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਈ ਸੀਗੀ। ਉਹ ਵਧੀਆ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਸੀਗਾ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਐਕਸਪੋਜ਼ਰ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਸਹੀ ਰਸਤੇ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਣ ਦੀ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਮਿਲੀ ਸੀਗੀ।
Let's now move on, getting some more news. Now today is the last date for the filing of the 4th installment of the advance tax this year. Failing to do so might result in paying needless penalty on the taxes. The salaried, freelancers and businesses, while if your total tax liability is 10,000 rupees or more in a financial year, you have to pay the advance tax. However, a senior citizen not having income from business or profession is not liable to pay the advance tax. The income tax law requires specified assessees to estimate their income, compute the income tax liability and pay taxes in 4 installments during the course of the financial year. The assessees are usually not expected to pay taxes in one installment.
All right, so those were all the national headlines. Let's turn focus on to international updates in our segment Across the Globe. At least 39 people were killed in Myanmar after a Chinese factory was set ablaze. The security forces killed at least 22 anti-coup protesters in the poor industrial Liangtai suburb of Myanmar's main city on Sunday. 16 more protesters were killed in other places. One policeman has also lost his life, according to local media, as plumes of smoke rose from the industrial area. Security forces opened fire on protesters in the suburb that is home to migrants from across the country. And according to the Chinese embassy, many Chinese staff members were injured and trapped in arson attacks by unidentified assailants on garment factories in the province. To get us more on that, our correspondent Amrit Pal Singh is joining us. Amrit, we've seen that a Chinese factory has been set ablaze in Myanmar. How do you read this new development? in the already troubled nation. Put into perspective for us, the current developments in Myanmar in light of these new developments which are taking place.
Not just one, I think the reports say around 4 factories have been set ablaze, Preeti, in the Langthaya suburb of Yangon. 3 of them are garment factories. 1 is said to be a fertilizer plant. Now, these are either Chinese funded or Chinese owned factories which are being run in Myanmar. As you know, China has made huge investment both in infrastructure and businesses in Myanmar. So, and there is a lot of anti-China feeling, that sentiment that is prevailing right now because of the perceived support of the military junta. So, protesters have been calling, defacing the Chinese embassy's Facebook pages, writing in Myanmarese language, comments there, literally, asking China to get out of their country. There have been calls to blow up the natural gas pipeline that goes from Myanmar to China. And China has termed the situation as very, very severe. In fact, the statement that they put out says China urges Myanmar to take further effective measures to stop all acts of violence, punish the perpetrators in accordance with law, and ensure the safety of life and property of the Chinese companies and personnel in Myanmar. Now, clearly, yesterday, Sunday, was one of the bloodiest days in Myanmar since the coup happened on the 1st of February. At least 39 people have been killed. There could be more. These, as you know, there are restrictions on the media reporting from there. So these news trickle in from social media or correspondents who are getting to speak to people online or over the phone lines. So the toll could be much higher. But now we know that the total toll of the number of people killed could be around 125 in total since the coup began. Nancy?
Yeah, right. Amrit, also, how would you evaluate this recent event, the Chinese factory set on fire there in Myanmar from the perspective of China-Myanmar relations?
China-Myanmar relations are very strong, and I think the Chinese wouldn't take any drastic step, but yes, they would build pressure on the military junta to, crack down on protesters who might be, who might want to harm Chinese interests and Chinese companies there. Now, complete martial law has been invoked in Yangon. If you remember, Yangon is already under curfew, but people are defying curfew there. It's said that after these factories were set on fire, about 2,000 people gathered on the streets and stopped fire engines from reaching those factories to douse the fire. So that's the sort of resentment there. But I think China would want to stand by the junta, at least for now, though it has made slightly critical comments, very soft critical comments as the international pressure against them mounts. But they've in the past they've called it an internal affair of Myanmar, and they said they should take concerted efforts towards normalizing the situation. But we haven't seen the sort of strong statements that have come from the West, including sanctions.
Right. Okay.
So China is a good friend of Myanmar. So this they might be concerned about the safety and security of the citizens working in Myanmar and their companies invested there, but I don't think this would have a very big impact on the bilateral relations.
All right, thank you so much for joining us with those inputs. That was our correspondent Amritpal Singh. Put into perspective for us the anti-China sentiment which was witnessed yesterday in the already troubled Myanmar. Let's get you updates from Nepal now. At least 8 people sustained injuries, with 1 person in critical condition and airlifted to Kathmandu after a pressure cooker blast inside a government office in southeastern Nepal. The blast took place on Sunday at Land Revenue Office at Lahan city of Sarlahi district, which injured 7, including a government official. The incident took place 100 meters away from a local police station. A group, Jantantrik Tarai Mukti Morcha Revolutionary Armed Outfit led by Jai Krishna Goet, has claimed the responsibility. The group also has demanded a separate state of Terai as its demand.
And in some more news, well, a number of climbers are all prepped up to return to Mount Everest for the first time next month, adhering to the strict conditions as the world's highest peak reopens after a year. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the climbers were not allowed to scale the 8,849-meter mountain, while Nepal closed its mountains in March last year as part of strict measures to control COVID-19.
Dangerous winter storm has struck large swaths of the U.S. Rockies and Western Plains, forcing the cancellation of hundreds of flights in Denver and shutting down major highways. The National Weather Service has predicted that 2 to 3 feet of snow could fall across different parts of the region. Blizzard warnings due to high winds were in effect for eastern Wyoming, western Nebraska and southwestern South Dakota. The Weather Service has also warned people to stay at homes. Meanwhile, more than 30,000 customers were without power in Colorado, and Interstate 25 and 80 have been closed as immense snow has blanketed the regions.
And ahead of the upcoming federal elections to be held in September in Germany, the ruling Christian Democratic Union Party has suffered a major setback. The party slumped to record defeats into regional votes on Sunday after a muddled COVID-19 response. An anger over a face mask procurement scandal in the CDU is being cited as the reason behind the backlash the party faced in the local elections. The CDU has seen its national popularity wane from 40% last June, when Germany was widely praised for its response to COVID-19 pandemic, to around 33% this month. Meanwhile, the left-leaning Social Democrats Party has come first again with 35.5% votes ahead of the CDU.
A quick look at the COVID-19 update from across the world. When you talk the figures, COVID-19 has infected more than 12 crore 4 lakh people across the world, while over 9 crore 69 lakh people have recovered from it. The number of lives lost globally due to the virus stand above 26 lakh 64,000. US continues to remain the worst hit country from the disease, with cases passing over 3 crore 81,000. It has registered over 5 lakh 47,000 fatalities.
And after all that news from around the world, let's move on now to our next segment, the Web News Review, where we get you all the news from around the World Wide Web.
And to get us the web review, our correspondent Amrit is joining us. Good morning, Amrit. Let us know what all headlines you've picked up for us from the social media platforms.
Apart from what you've already put out, Preeti and Nancy, on your show, I've chosen this report of the Times of India. It quotes External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar hitting out at human rights institutions and democracy institutions, especially of the West. The story says rights bodies downgrading India are hypocrites, says Jaishankar. Now, Foreign Minister Jaishankar was speaking at the India Today conclave, where he said that the downgrade of India reflected the frustration of those in the West who've arrogated to themselves the right to pass verdicts and are feeling frustrated that the current dispensation in India does not crave testimonials from them. He said it's hypocrisy, and we have a set of self-appointed custodians of the world who find it very difficult to stomach that somebody in India is not looking for their approval. He was being questioned at the India Today conclave. Recently, some human rights bodies have downgraded democracy rankings of India. Now, the foreign minister was responding in that context. The other story is from the Mint. It says Xi Jinping's dream project, Belt Road Initiative, in trouble amid China's shrinking economy. Now, this is a report of the Kabul Times that was printed in the Kabul Times yesterday, which the Mint has picked up and printed. It says the COVID-19 has slowed down the BRI initiative, pushing it towards becoming financially inviable. China has been forced to cut back on new loans and investments under the BRI due to the country's shrinking economy, which has been aggravated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Chinese investments, the paper says, have reduced to $47 billion in 2020, which is a whopping slump of 54% in just 1 year. And this is what the Green Belt and Road Initiative Center, which is a research organization, has quoted. And the paper has quoted that report. The other story, which the Times of India has printed, is from Delhi. It says Delhi as e-drive goes full throttle, a path to prevent green mission from going waste. The story says that after aiming to be, excuse me, the electric vehicle capital of the country, Delhi will now get a dedicated e-waste management park. The LG, in his meeting with the principal scientific advisor, according to the paper, has said that the e-waste management park would ensure safe and efficient disposal of electrical and electronic waste. And the Chief Secretary has been directed to make a proposal in consultation with the Environment and the Electronics and IT ministries for setting up the park in a time-bound manner. So that's what web portals and newspapers have printed. Preeti and Nancy, it's back to you.
All right, Amrit, thank you so much for joining in with that web review this morning.
Absolutely, and with that, let's move on now, get you some sports stories in Sports Track. And well, first up, now India captain Virat Kohli's innings of 73 runs off just 49 balls with 5 fours and 3 sixes helped India level the 5-match series, one each, as they won the second T20 by 7 wickets in Ahmedabad yesterday. And with this, Kohli has become the first batsman to make 3,000 runs in the men's T20 cricket, while Kohli was already the leading scorer in the format in men's cricket before the match. Set 165 runs to win the match, India chased down the target quite easily with more than 2 overs to spare. And another man who performed outstandingly was the debutant Ishan, who scored a solid half-century in his first game in the blue jersey. Kishan's 32-ball 56 and his 94-run partnership for the second wicket with Virat Kohli took the match away from the touring party. And for this, he was awarded the Man of the Match award.
South African women's cricket team defeated India by 7 wickets in the 4th ODI to take an unassailable 3-1 lead in the 5-match series. The African team has defeated India in the ODI series after 6 years. Earlier in November 2014, South Africa won 2-1 in the series played in India. The 5th ODI will be played on March 17th. India lost the toss in this match, batting first and scored 266 runs, losing 4 wickets in 50 overs. Poonam Roth scored 104 runs off 123 balls. At the same time, Harmanpreet Kaur scored 54 runs from 35 balls with the help of 7 fours and a 6. In response to this, the South African team achieved the target by losing 3 wickets in 48.4 overs. Liesl Lee scored 69 runs, Laura Walworth 53, Laura Goodall 59 and Megan Dupreez scored 61 runs.
And moving on now, Tamil Nadu CA Bhavani Devi has become the first ever Indian fencer to qualify for the Tokyo Olympic Games. The fencer secured a spot in the World Cup in Hungary after the hosts lost in the quarterfinals of the team event, allowing South Korea to progress to the semi-finals. Bhavani Devi qualified through the adjusted official ranking method. 2 individual spots were up for grabs for the Asia and the Oceania region based on the world rankings as of 5th of April 2021. She is ranked 45th and occupies one of the 2 available slots based on the ranking.
Up next, we get to the health report, a report we get for you every day to make sure you remain in good health and spirits. In the health report today, we talk of respiratory allergies. Allergies are often seen as a minor ailment. Respiratory allergies can turn severe and prove life-threatening if left unattended. Take a look at this report to understand what are the signs and precautions for people with respiratory allergies.
Respiratory allergies affect many people. Respiratory allergies develop when the body reacts to specific irritants in the air. Not everyone reacts the same way to the same substances. Some common factors can act as the trigger and can precipitate the allergy.
Usually we find so many children as well as adults who come up with problems pertaining to the respiratory system, the upper respiratory system as well as the lower respiratory tract. Essentially, we have the common problems involving the upper respiratory tract is allergic rhinitis, which is characterized by sneezing, runny nose and blocked nose, and this happens mainly during particular seasons because it is related to the allergens which are prevalent in that particular season. A related disease is asthma, which also is an episodic disease which occurs intermittently, and usually it occurs in particular seasons. Both these disorders can be perennial as well. Now, it has been seen that quite a few people they suffer from both these entities because it's a united airways disease, and the response is hyperreactivity to commonly found allergens.
Allergies that affect breathing sometimes start with subtle symptoms. If allergic symptoms go untreated, one might develop a severe or life-threatening reaction.
We should essentially get in touch with our physicians and get the disease identified, then prevent exposure to dust, exposure to fumes, perfumes or any pets that we have at home, or smoke. Very importantly, people smoking around us should be avoided. There is efficient medication available in the form of nasal sprays or inhalers, whether it is metered dose inhalers or dry powder inhalers. Under the guidance of the physician, we should use them properly and never apply our own self-medicated devices. Both these diseases are preventable, and one can lead a successful life in terms of sporting activities in any profession wherever we are.
Breathing allergies affect the daily life, but early detection can limit the impact and help the person breathe easy. If your symptoms indicate that you might have a breathing allergy, do not ignore it, consult a medical expert and get it treated appropriately. Kiran Bhardwaj, DD News.
So take good care of your health, and we do hope that the daily health reports that we bring you are of immense help to you and your family. With that, let's now move on, take a look at the history of the day, the significance of this day in the past.
On this day in 1493, Christopher Columbus returned to Spain after concluding his first voyage to the Western Hemisphere. On 15th March in 1987, the first cricket test between Australia and England was played at MCG Stadium, Melbourne in Australia. Australia won the match by 45 runs. Social reformer and founder of Bahujan Samaj Party, Kanshi Ram, was born on this day in 1934 in Roopnagar district of Punjab. He worked for the upliftment and political mobilization of Bahujans. On this day in 1959, Shri Mahila Griha Udyog Lijjat Papad, popularly known as Lijjat, was founded by 7 Gujarati women in Mumbai. On this day in 1977, Major Sandeep Unnikrishnan, who sacrificed his life in 26/11 Mumbai attacks, was born in Kozhikode in Kerala. An officer in the Indian Army, Major Unnikrishnan served in the elite Special Action Group of the National Security Guards. On this day in 1985, the first internet domain name, symbolics.com, was registered by the Symbolic Computer Corporation of Massachusetts in US. Mikhail Gorbachev became the first and the last president of Soviet Union on this day in 1990. Before becoming president, Gorbachev held the most powerful post of the Soviet Union, that is, the Secretary General of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union since March 1985.
Alright, now let's quickly take a quick look at the temperatures across major cities of the country. Also by Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Breakfast News this morning. We hope you enjoyed the show, and tomorrow we'll be back again at 8 right in the morning.
Absolutely, yes. And before we go today, we are leaving you in fact with these visuals from Purple Islands in South Korea, which has been inspired by the native balloon flower. People there have turned the island into purple and it has now become a major tourist hub. Take a look at those beautiful visuals and we wish you a great and a safe day ahead. Thanks for being with us.